rich tradition of indigenous peoples in which spiritual warriors, love warriors, spirit riders are those who are deeply rooted in the best of the culture but stand up in the name of dignity for the language, for the culture, for the self-determination of the people. And to have American soldiers, many of them actually were asked to fight in America's imperial wars, oftentimes for oil and resources and so forth, to become part of the spiritual warriors is a major, major move. And to have the veterans and the clergy together, but all of them behind the deep leadership of indigenous peoples, which is a profoundly spiritual leadership. You see, you've got something historically unprecedented.
One thing the candidates aren't really talking about is the Dakota access pipeline. Is that something that you would consider intervening in? People have called for your administration to make a call.
We're monitoring this closely, and I think as a general rule, my view is that there is a way for us to accommodate sacred lands of Native Americans, and I think that right now the Army Corps is examining whether there are ways to reroute this pipeline in a way.
Right.
So we're going to let it play out for several more weeks and determine whether or not this can be resolved in a way that I think is properly attentive to the traditions of the first Americans.
Is there something to be done about the way protesters are being treated right now, though? They're getting sprayed with rubber bullets. We're seeing some kind of shocking footage.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenging situation. I think that my general rule when I talk to governors and state and local officials, whenever they're dealing with protests, including, for example, during the Black Lives Matters protests, is there's an obligation for protesters to be peaceful, and there's an obligation for authorities to show restraint. And I want to make sure that as everybody is exercising their constitutional rights to be heard, that both sides are refraining from situations that might result in people being hurt.
The U.S. Army has decided not to allow an oil pipeline to cross under a reservoir on land it controls in North Dakota in a move praised by protesters. The Standing Rock Sioux tribe hailed an historic decision and said it was forever grateful to President Obama. Instead, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will look at alternative routes, a statement by the campaigners said. The Sioux have been protesting since April against the pipeline, which is near a reservation. Today, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers announced that it will not be granting the easement to cross Lakeway for the proposed Dakota access pipeline, the tribe's statement read. Instead, the Corps will be undertaking an environmental impact statement to look at possible alternative routes. The multi-billion-dollar pipeline, which runs close to the Standing Rock Sioux Native American Indian Reservation, is nearly 1,200 miles, 1,900 kilometers, long. It is nearly complete except for the lake section. The Sioux, along with other Native Americans, oppose the pipeline because they fear it will contaminate drinking water and run over sacred burial sites. Hundreds of U.S. military veterans joined the activists last week. The campaigners, who have numbered thousands, have endured bitter temperatures and had been ordered to leave the area by Monday. President-elect Donald Trump, who has had stocks in Texas-based Energy Transfer Partners, the project's builder, and Phillips 66, which owns 1/4 of the pipeline, has said he supports the project. But he denies his policy is related to any financial interest. North Dakota Governor Jack Dalrymple called the decision a serious mistake. North Dakota Republican Representative Kevin Cramer said the Army Corps decision amounted to a very chilling signal for U.S. infrastructure. The protests, on federal land, have seen clashes between the demonstrators and law enforcement.